everybody. So that Dave's trumpet call is the announcement. And of course, our theme music, that we are back here on the David Uosikkinen and In the Pocket podcast after 2 months and change. Here we are back. Are we recording, Dave?
We are recording. Yes, we
are. Then here we are back with the long awaited episode 64. We're kind of making things up as we go along here. It's a new world, obviously. And actually, it's just going to be an hour of Dave playing trumpet. We're just going to
we'll torture you. It was interesting how we did the intro too, because I have it through my HomePod, super cool little HomePod thing, and I had my iPhone. And I'm going, So obviously, I wish we could have done this live and had Facebook and people, could join us, but it is what it is. Next week, we hope to be able to do some things with Zoom and Facebook, but we're going to record this, and we got a special guest, and it's going to be a fun podcast, and here we are.
Yeah.
Man, I missed you.
Hi, Dave. I miss you too. I miss everybody, man. This is social distancing. I mean, I get it. We have to do it, but I'll tell you, being away from people,
oh my God,
it's tough. But this is great. Hopefully, people are listening to us right now, and welcome back to all our listeners. Thank you so much for your support over the last 2 years. Thank you to our sponsors who have been with us and helped us keep us going all along. Right. I know we just wanted to run through a couple of the sponsors that have helped us over the last 2 years since we launched in September 2018. Man, it's been a long. It's been
60. Would this be our 65th?
This is our 64th episode. When we're 64.
No. When we're 60. It's been 64 for me. I turned 64 this year.
Right.
64th podcast. 2020 has been like, oh my God, who would have thought when, we brought in 2020 that we were going to experience what we're experiencing. I mean, this is, at first it was, like to a man, woman, child, animal. This has been jolting, if anything, and all the lives that are lost, and it's just been unbelievable. But at the same time, I always have hope that, when you run into situations, never like this, but there's creativity. There's, things are invented, so I think there's a great time for the arts.
I've been blown away by what you yourself and so many of our musicians in the community have managed to do to keep their music out there, and to provide enjoyment for the public, because we all need entertainment right now. And
it would make us nuts if we didn't. I know a lot of friends of mine that are drummers, and I mean, I went so far as you were kidding, to pick up a trumpet. And I figure, you know what? I'll go mad if I don't, just try to do something to keep going. Challenge myself, and I think we're to see a lot of that. Not from me. That's it from me.
I mean, there could be another instrument that you're ready, that you've always wanted to pick up that you haven't done it yet.
Oh, I'm in. I got Dave Kirshner and Henry McMillan giving me pointers and lessons, and so I'll get there. I'll get there. Trust me. Sorry, Dal.
Yeah.
Poor wife.
So, I know you wanted to run down just our sponsors real quick from the last year.
From
there was Croker Percussion,
School of Rock, Bucks County Drum Company, Chris Carr over there, our friend John Paris,
Trudy Handelman, and GotPeace.com.
Got Peace, Gabe, and with his business.
Right. Well, it was Behavioral Pediatrics and ABA Therapy Associates over in Lansdale.
And my friend Mark Marlino.
Right.
Just, we've had, if we're missing anybody, we'll mention it on the show, but there's been incredible support of the podcast as long as we've been going, and everybody that's joined us. Now, the cool thing about doing video and bringing that into it is that there's a lot of these guests that we've had on the podcast that we did only audio, that I would like to come back and, bring them back. And, you can see their faces, the lovely Kenny Aronson, Steve Butler, Cliff Hillis, who you didn't get a chance to do the podcast with because you were sick when that happened.
I was.
I think it was the only one that you missed. And so there's some new opportunities again, with some things that go down that aren't great. There's some great opportunity. And
right.
So
Well,
guess if you can see who's about to.
Is he about to pop in? Well, I was going to say, you were talking about how this would have been a really incredible year, 2020. One of the reasons it was going to be an incredible year, 40th anniversary of the Hooters.
Yeah,
and I mean, wow, the things you guys had planned for this year, which hopefully you'll be able to do next year.
Yeah, well, that's the plan, and hopefully, the plan will be that we'll be able to. I'm actually letting our guests know that we see him, and we are going to admit him shortly. Okay. Soon. So, yeah, I mean, it didn't, when this all happened, it didn't surprise us in the least, because everything was being canceled, every show, and we don't have any real timeline. We know that, fortunately, our promoter has a lot of the shows that we were doing in Europe rebooked for next year. And I know we had some really special things coming, and we're looking at, we had a 40th anniversary tour, as you mentioned. Now it's 40th anniversary +1. We got and we'll make it better than ever, because everybody's working really hard. And my friend that is about to join us right now, who is not only a guy that we have had in the band, who started the band with his partner, Rob Hyman, has been doing incredible things on this time off,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. You want to do the honors of introducing our friend there?
Do we see it? Is he there yet? I don't see him.
I'm going to, do I hit him? I'm going to admit him right now.
Okay. Well, here he is, the original co-founder, the incredibly talented singer, songwriter, guitar player, multi-instrumentalist, one of the greatest talents the Philadelphia music scene has ever produced. Mr. Eric Bazilian will be with us as soon as.
It's our friend is. I think he's waiting to come on. I got him. Let me see. Can we see Eric? Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but we cannot see you. We cannot see.
There he is. There he is. all the way from Stockholm, Sweden.
Yeah.
The great Eric Bazilian with us.
Yeah, you missed a great intro. He had a great intro for you. I don't know if you heard him, but it was great.
It was all lies. All lies.
How you holding up?
I apologize for the light down here. I'm stuck in the basement.
That's all right. That's okay. It's okay. We get to see you. That's the most important thing. Chat with you. That's great.
Yeah. So how are things in Sweden, Eric?
I'm sure you've been hearing about how Sweden is not locked down.
Right.
They're counting on the good sense of its citizens to stay safe and healthy.
Yeah.
And it's, you don't know who to believe now as far as the numbers go.
Right.
I think Sweden is probably more honest than most in terms of reporting.
I bet. I agree.
So if you just look at the numbers, it looks pretty bad. I know a couple of people who have think they've gotten it because they haven't been tested, but they think they went through it.
And they were sick as really sick. Did they really get sick? Yeah.
No one who needed to be hospitalized.
Yeah.
It's bad. Yeah. It's bad.
Yeah.
But how are you holding up personally? Everything all right with you and your family? And
yeah, it's just weird time. I came back to Sweden at end of February, and I was supposed to be back in the U.S. again in March, and then I was supposed to be back now. I was supposed to spend the entire month of May.
Yeah.
The band getting, with you guys getting ready for our tour.
I know. We were just talking about that, how, we had all these plans, and then everything just, like everyone else. We weren't the only ones. Every band, everybody we know that does what we do, they were either postponed, canceled, and fortunately for us, we're able to hopefully resume in 2021, depending on what who's to say? But we're optimistic about doing it. But it's certainly unusual times, and it was like really. We were ready to go. Everybody was ready to go, and boom.
So,
do you guys think that live music is going to change radically, or do you think things will be able to get back to where it was? I mean, you talk about like a packed show at the TLA, for example, where everybody's kind of, packed together in front of the stage, and you're 2 inches from the person next to you, and no one's thinking anything of it. I mean, do you think we'll ever be able to get back to that point, or do you think it's going to take, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years before people are comfortable in that environment again?
In my gut, I think, yeah, I think we will.
Yeah.
It may take, it may take 2 years, it may take 3 years, but I know we will.
Yeah.
I know we will. I mean, the human spirit is indomitable.
Starving for that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I've embraced my solitude, kind of kicking back, not going out at night before this all started. And now once this started and I was told that you can't do this and you can't do that. If you go there, you're going to get this. I can't believe how much that whole thing of like, once they take it away from you, how much you miss it. I mean, unbelievable. I was telling Andy up before he got on, I said, the one thing that's happened that I've been pleasantly surprised, well, not surprised, because about artists, how so much creativity has been spurned from this whole thing. I mean, look what you're doing. I mean, the music that you're doing and Help and all that stuff. I mean, all that stuff was ridiculous. And and that thing you did with Wesley the other day, he'll tell you about that, Andy. It was amazing.
Oh, I
don't think, one thing was great I see you do it all the time. I see the genius at work. And I mean that, Eric. I mean, you're quick, you intuitive, boom. And you're going with your gut and making music. That's how he operates, man. But there were a lot of people that were going, oh, that's so cool. That's good. I mean, that's you, man. Making a song, here, pulling out the bass. Oh, Andy, what do you see? And he plays guitar. Oh, I think you need more lead guitar. Here's the vocals. I'll fix that. I mean, amazing. And I mean, and look, I mean, you wouldn't be doing it if we weren't. We would be out we would have rehearsed this week, right? No, we would have rehearsed last week. We would have played Hoagie Nation this week.
Yep, we would have played Hoagie Nation. I would have come back to Stockholm for a few days, and we would be meeting up next week in Germany.
Yeah.
Dave, you mentioned Eric's cover of Help.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, talk about Hooterizing a great song. I mean, and making it your own. I mean, it's like the Hooters meets the Beatles. And I know you guys have obviously covered the Beatles before, but this was just spectacular. Eric, can you talk about what led up to that cover and I mean, because it just turned out fantastic.
It was really a serendipitous thing. I didn't mean to cover Help.
What a song, too.
It was one of these things here. I'll show you. I have my man.
Awesome.
Oh, cool.
Awesome.
I've discovered something. Meanwhile, I've discovered something. I'm Alive is in the key of B, the mandolo on the 4th fret.
Yeah.
I've discovered that is the best key in the world for my voice.
Yeah. So
everything I'm doing now is in B. In fact, I'm putting out an EP soon.
In B.
It's called Songs in the Key of B.
That's great. That's great. And it's funny how you discover things. I mean, here we are. It's taking this long to figure that out, right?
Yeah.
Yep. It's funny, But so I don't want to interrupt your story. What you were doing.
I had this mandola riff that I was playing. I don't think how go again.
Yeah.
So I made a track out of it.
Yeah.
And then pulled out that guitar, that crazy gold Italian 1964 Ellie sound guitar that I got around the corner here. I keep it tuned down to C sharp, so when I play a D chord, it's a B. So I can play in the key of B. So I put this track together, and you know how I write. That's how we did with Call Your Name.
Yeah.
I started singing, and I had a couple of ideas, and they were like, okay. Then all of a sudden, I heard Help in my head over this.
Right.
And I was like,
you got to do this. You start hyper. If you work with Eric in that situation, it's like in that case, when you mentioned Call Your Name, he pulled me into write, and it's like you're on a ride, and by the end of the day, you're hyperventilating. It's like unbelievable. I mean, for me, it was like, are you kidding me? But it's such a I mean, you crash out the next day. You're almost like you're coming down. It's a high.
Oh, I definitely crashed. I crash out afterwards.
Yeah.
But so that's how it happened, you know. Then I sang it, and then you know, then I sent it to my buddy Mark.
Martin and the drummer that played, he wonderful. Sounded great. Sounded really, really great. Loved it.
He's the Slovenian Dave.
Well, I'm honored. He was great. Wonderful. Those guys are great. It's amazing, you know, and I love the fact that you're doing all this international stuff that people probably don't know about. I mean, you're working with these guys are in Slovenia, and you've been working with with a lot of the Euro. That was like the people that were involved with Eurovision, right? Is that or in some that was kind of how that happened, right? And then you start doing.
I met Manuela in Stockholm. She was living in Stockholm. Her boyfriend, the musician Marian, and I met her through another Slovenian singer that I met here.
Yeah.
And he wanted to make an album with me. We wrote a song together that came out great.
Right.
And she, you know, Eric, I must do an album with you. Do you have songs for me? I started songs.
And next thing you know, you're in Slovenia every like month. I saw those pictures. Great.
It's great there. It's awesome. And then I met who's, you know, our kind of guy.
Yeah. He's Slovenian Bill.
Yeah, he is. He kind of is.
Yeah.
But yeah, you worked with him. You get the vibe. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like, you know, you seem to find these people that are just like high energy, high creativity, and courageous. You know, that's the word that, you know, like they're like, oh, well, we can do that. There's like no fear, you know, which is, you know, I mean, that was the one thing. Look, Andy mentioned to me the other day about how, and you probably forgot this, but when you told me we got a name for the band, and we were out front of Umbria Street, and you told me, and I was like, oh, I don't know, but it was like always like it was like the most, like Rob and Eric were the most ballsiest, bravest musicians I've ever played with. They were just like fearless in music, which was almost like, oh, I gotta be around this, you know, and you know, they're amazing. No, truthful, it really, really true. It was like living on the edge musically. Well, I was living on both coasts, you know, emotionally and everything, but musically on a creative level, it was the most amazing thing. And lucky for me to be at the right place at the right time.
You mentioned the name of the band, and it is the 40th anniversary, so we can get a little nostalgic here. Eric, going way back to you know, you and Rob coming up with that name, and I'm sure you've told this story many times. Was there any trepidation? I mean, I guess the restaurant chain wasn't a thing yet.
No.
Right? Yeah.
Not only wasn't the restaurant chain a thing yet, it hadn't become a vernacular for a woman's breast yet.
Okay. No, that was Steve. Wasn't that Steve Martin who did that? Who kind of like popularized or brought that up? He said that on Saturday Night Live, you know. So
was that I believe that, you know, I believe in
women should be put on a pedestal high enough that we can look up their dresses. Yeah. So when you came up with the name, was it just? I mean, obviously it's based on the melodica, but I mean, was there a big was a debate at all, or were you pretty like, that's it, that's the perfect name?
Not really. I mean, we were looking for a plural noun that wasn't a household object, because at the time it was sort of like, you know, there were a lot of names had to be really oblique and you know, bizarre, and often it was like a singular thing, like tree. And we wanted to be able to say, you know, I am a Beatle, I'm a Rolling Stone, I'm a Whaler. So, but not I'm a chair, I'm a foot, I'm a car.
How brilliant is that though? Because here's a Woodrow Wilson grad, and I joined a band with two guys from Penn. And this is what they think about, and with a name, and there's this thought put into it, and I'm like, you know, again, pretty fearless, right from the name.
There was thought put into it, but when the inspiration strikes, there is no thought.
Right.
You know, it's just like the songwriting thing. There's no thought involved. Thinking and being creative do not go well together. No.
Well, Neil Young used to say, "If you're thinking, you're stinking." Right. I always love that. You know, which is true. But that one, like, really, whether you I remember thinking, oh my God, I don't know, but it looked great. No, I love the name now. Are you kidding me?
Well,
at the time,
we're stuck with it.
well, it was Cyndi Lauper. Listen, the best line I heard from Cyndi was like, the band with the unfortunate name. She said, I went, what? You know, what are you gonna do?
Like, hey. we stuck it out, and we will outlast the restaurants.
Oh yes.
Oh, I think you already have. Is the restaurant even? I guess there's still some left, but
yeah.
But
yeah, we have, and we're keep going. And I think, in a lot of ways, and I don't know if it was because of the COVID. I think we're going to come back better than ever, stronger than ever. You know, I mean, this whole thing that I'm doing at my house is something I had to do, and it's made me think more. And you know, again, it's like it wasn't like my back was against the wall. It's like, okay, well, this is what I got to do. So be creative and playing and writing and singing. Even, you know, there's things that will happen.
Yeah. No, listen. You know, when this whole thing started, I would say, you know, like Toto, we're going to take the time to do the things we never had.
Yeah.
Eric, what are your, again, as long as we're being nostalgic, what are your most vivid memories of the real early days of the band? You know, back in your days of playing Vernon's and those clubs in Levittown.
The ones I can talk about?
Hey, we're on a podcast. You can talk about anything.
Yeah, we can curse on here too. But
anything you're comfortable with, you can talk about.
Yeah, Levittown, man, was.
Levittown. You know, the Beatles had Hamburg. You know, where they played in. You know, and that was our Vernon's, and it was great. You know, we would play 3 or 4 sets a night, 5 or 6 nights a week, and you know, we were paying our dues, but we were having the best time doing it. I mean, the crowd was.
We played 5 sets a night.
Did we do 5?
Start at 9, finish at 2.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah, and that infamous night when John Lennon lost his life, that you know, we played that night. It happened around 9 o'clock, and we finished that night, and we were all in shock on stage. And again, you know, we were together, and the music kind of was our healer. And we played. It was like, you know, should we stop playing what we do? And we played. You know, so but that place and Vernon was just such a great. I just did a podcast for the guy at MGK. His grandson just did a podcast. We talked about Vernon and Vernon's and the whole thing starting there. It was great. Great memories. Great memories. Sean, it's great.
Sean. I mean, you know, the whole thing, and then going out to Cosmo's Diner afterwards.
I forgot about that. That diner's still there, man. We used to go and I don't remember sleeping much, you know?
No, we couldn't.
Yeah.
I used to stay at your house. I remember,
we'd go to the lake. We'd go to the lake. We'd go to the Penn Manor Lake. Rob and Eric would come. We'd barbecue. Sometimes it would be a thunderstorm. I remember one time it was a thunderstorm, and we barbecued, I think, in the garage. But I remember you guys both, I think, stayed at my house, at my parents' house, and then we went to the lake. A friend of ours had a Hobie cat. I think we went out and did that. It was unbelievable.
Yep.
Just amazing times. It's really, you think back and wow, great.
It was. And we, you know, I don't know how we found time to rehearse, but we kept adding new songs. You know, Rob and I kept writing all kinds of wacky covers.
Yeah. I saw a set list the other day. Somebody posted a set list from our, from Vernon's, Talk Too Much. I think there was All You Zombies on there. You know, I just when we started, and when we did a cover song, Andy, it was always our version of the cover song.
Right,
you know?
sure.
Like For Your Love was a ska version of For Your Love by the Yardbirds. Desmond Decker, we would do stuff like that. And that band opened for The Who in 1982, playing that stuff. Pete Rose, I think we played Pete Rose. Did we play Pete Rose at JFK Stadium? I think we did.
You know what? We should go on setlist.fm and find out.
I think.
Were you guys surprised at how quickly, like, just people responded to what you guys were doing? I mean, because the bars were packed back then. I mean, it was packed. I mean, it's you know, and what you were doing was pretty different than what else was out there. There weren't a lot of ska / rock bands at the time. I mean, were you kind of looking back? I mean, how quickly people just took to what you guys were doing?
You know, I was really happy about it. I wasn't really surprised because early on, when we were writing these songs, I had a feeling, like when we wrote All You Zombies and when Fighting on the Same Side, that was the one. I knew that song was going to connect.
Yeah.
And then when we played it with the band, when you played drums on, it was just like boom. Yeah. This is going to be not a slam dunk.
And Whitman was with us back then. You think about that. We did that.
Yep.
We recorded that at KGEM with Bill in 1980, which is like, I mean, I think about, because Bill's been helping me with my studio. So I think about these conversations. He's been helping me for 40 years. Like, he taught me how to tune a drum. I remember he did something with Russ Kunkel, and I loved Russ Kunkel. And he worked with Kunkel, so he told me how Kunkel did it, and then a combination of how Bill would do it. I mean, just unbelievable. Right. And now he's like, he's get a Slate ML2. It's like, to this day, he's still educating me. It's amazing. But we've got such history. Yeah, I know. But
Eric, did Dave ever tell you how he didn't like All You Zombies initially? He did. Did you ever hear him tell you that?
Well, Rob probably knew it because Rob was always the one that, Rob's the set meister. He's like, remember at Vernon's? He would talk with the band. Of course, this is what I'm doing. And he would, but he would, he always had that pencil out and he's writing the set. And I was always like, can we do All You Zombies like early, get it out of the way? I didn't see it. But I did see it after we played, I think, Emerald City, and that's when I started getting Zombies. That's when I went, I liked great songs. I didn't know, I couldn't even identify a structure of a great song. I would think about songs in parts. I didn't think about the way they thought about it. Like my mindset, I had to learn that craft, how that goes. And I remember playing that, and then it was like a light bulb went off. I go, oh my God, that's a great chorus, But it only took about 2 years for that to really happen, Amazing.
But Rob and I were on the same page with that. I mean, we also remember that our first night at Vernon's, we opened our first set with that, and
I remember.
And the audience.
I don't remember what the audience. What did the audience do?
I think they were from like a special needs school.
Oh.
Yeah, and we're playing All You.
Oh no! Oh no! Lucky. You mean lucky you? Oh no! Remember the commercial? That used to be the commercial. That's what we used to. Oh no!
But no, I mean that song kept surprising us. We played it at Emerald City, and the next day MMR's blasting it on heavy rotation.
I heard it like 5 times the next day. I couldn't believe it.
And then even going up to when we mastered Nervous Night with George Marino, and he asked us what's the single, and Rick said, what do you think it should be? And George completely surprised us by saying All You Zombies.
Wow.
Commercial.
Legendary mastering engineer, Andy. He did. I mean, him and Bob Ludwig and a guy named Bernie Grunman. He was the other guy that did all the great records. He was like back in the day, those classic rock records. He mastered those records. But and from those songs, there is a hook today. There's a song that we did. It was Solid Rock to me is still one that's, I can't believe it, after all these years I hear
that should have been recorded at some point.
I hear that guitar riff. You know the song, right? He plays that riff, the way Eric played it with did you use a mandolin on that?
There's a mandolin. That was our first computerized intro.
Amazing. Mandolin. Yeah. Oh man, and the feel of it and the sound of it, it's like that's one of those riffs and songs that I hear. And it actually brings me to a place. Like I hear them, it's like, it's not a musical, it's like, it brings me in my head to a place. Amazing.
Is still a riff in search of a song.
Yeah.
And someday.
Yeah, I think so.
We're going to bookend our career by finishing that song.
That'd be awesome. We got former band members. Andy King brings that up all the time to me. He goes, Solid Rock. That's still like, it's funny that people that just hangs in there. It's a thing that just hangs in there.
Yep. It'll find its place.
Yeah.
It can never.
For sure.
Eric, you mentioned the Who, or Dave mentioned the show opening for the Who a little while ago. What do you remember about that? Because the initial run of the Hooters, that was kind of the, that was the pinnacle to that point, obviously. But I mean, playing, opening for the Who, and then I remember you guys had to bail, right? Because you had to go down to a show in Virginia that night or something.
Right. Yep.
With the good guys.
Yep, that's right. The thing is, I didn't consider it that we were opening for the Who. It felt like we opened for Santana, and then the Clash opened for the Who.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Because it was a long day. I definitely felt like we were a little out of our league at that point.
Definitely.
We got to work our way up to this, but it was great to have a taste of it. Mick came, we got our picture taken.
Yeah, that was that show.
That's a famous picture, yeah.
Carlos Santana sat behind me almost through the whole set. I turned around I remember I turned around, and right behind me, almost touching my back, was Carlos Santana. And he's like shaking his head. I'm like, I just watched, like it felt like I watched Woodstock, and there he is. We're playing with them, and that was massive. You look back and things like that. But early on, having an opportunity to play there, I was telling some, because I did it. I think I was talking to somebody about Live Aid, and of course they're saying, like, what was it like? The first time you played JFK at Live Aid. I'm going, it wasn't our first time. We played there before, and I think that was a lucky break. We were killing it, but that was one of those situations where a promoter knew what we were doing, and we got on I think that happens for some up and coming bands at times, and it's what they make of it. Yep. What are you going to do with it? We didn't hang out. We all love the Who to a man, but we had work to do. We got in a van and drove down to Richmond to do a gig. And because we had work to do, as simple as that, and it was a great gig in Richmond.
Yep. Oh, it sure was.
Yeah. We played, and that was we played with another band that was a ska band then too. That was, they did a lot of ska, reggae, and soul music. And they were and they were a band that we became very tight with back in the day. And I remember when we went through when we changed up, the couple of the guys came in the band, and bands are people, and like fans, like when you make a drastic change in the band or style musically, sometimes people aren't quick to embrace it. And I remember the guys in the band going, "What are you doing?" I don't know if you had any conversations with those guys back then. They were like, "No," but you guys knew what we were doing. It was like obvious, we had to do that.
It's just it was what it was, and hindsight is pointless.
Yeah,
there was that. That incarnation of the band was amazing, and we had an amazing energy. I don't know how long we could have survived with that energy. I
think we survived as long as we could.
Yeah,
I think we did. Yeah, I think you knew. I think we talked about that one other time. I think you hit the nail on the head. Because sometimes you just have you have to have the right nuts and bolts. And you could have some great nuts and bolts. It's like a team. But if you don't have the right nuts and bolts, it's not going to work, And that's great leadership. I think, I sound like a CEO, but that's what it is. Frankly, that's what it's about. How do I move this thing forward with people I can move it with, And that's not to say that we didn't have any bumps in the road, because we did, but musically, it was never really ever a music thing. I think we always knew that when we got on stage, it's like, tell about that story in 2003 when we did Pierre's anniversary party, when he came back to play again.
Yep.
Hello.
Yeah. Well, the magic was always there on stage, and the magic was always there in the studio. And I'm just going to hold up my introduction to the band.
Oh, right.
And a lot of others. I guess it's it's reversed for some reason, but talk about making a splash with an EP. A locally released, locally produced EP that just. You just you blew up after this. This was in Philadelphia. This was as big as it got at the time. And what obviously you had a single release before that, but this was your first official release on an album. And memories of completing Amore and having it out there and the reaction that people had to it? I mean,
it was amazing. Again, we were riding a wave then. You know, we were unstoppable. We were a tsunami.
True. I think I sent you a message last week because it was somebody. I sent a copy of Amore to someone. Said he was telling me how much it influenced him, and he didn't have it on CD, so I sent it to him. And then one of his friends posted it on Facebook, and then he said that riff, that guitar, the album opens with Amore, and that sound. And you know, Eric, nobody plays that like you. Nobody. People play it. It's like that sound, that teeth. It's like that guitar. And that is AC30 you use for that? Is that
no, that was actually a Music Man.
Wow.
It was the last in the world I thought I would like. But what was his name? Christopher. The guy I actually got the junior from.
Wow.
He said, "Take it, you just plug it in, trust me," and he was right.
Yeah.
I remember I couldn't get a good sound out of it for some reason at that point at Studio 4. The Vox and the Marshall just weren't doing it, and I brought in this Music Man. It was just frontal.
Oh.
And it's funny because I played
hear it
through
today. It's great.
I mean, I've played through one since then, and they sound terrible. But that one had
funny.
mojo.
Oh, did it ever? I mean, still, that's one of the things that still blows me away when it comes on. I'm going, that still sounds amazing. It has the teeth, you know.
It's got
everything about it, you know. It's still a fun song to play live too, Andy.
It's a fun song to listen to live, that's for sure. It's always a highlight of your guys' shows when you play Amore.
I love. I don't want to fight. Don't want to fight. I love that song. Today I hear that's beautiful. Play that acoustic guitar solo in that. It's a beautiful track. That's a nice one. I don't think I heard it for a long time, and then one day, like a few years ago, I heard it. I'm going, wow, because my wife Dallin has it, and she'll listen to that, and it's like, that's really great, you know. So we did something really good.
Yep, we did, and then we did another thing really good, and we keep doing things really good.
Yeah, indeed. You know, so.
Talk more. Go ahead, Dave. What were you going to say?
No. Go ahead.
I was just gonna. We can go back to the Hooters history, but I do want to make sure we talk about some of the stuff Eric's working on now. You work very closely with one of the guests that we've had on the podcast previously, the great Alexis Cunningham. And I know she's got an album coming out, Alexis and the Medicine, and you play on it and produced it, and it's just. I mean, I guess it keeps you, you know, working with young talents like that. I guess it keeps you feeling inspired and fresh and.
And especially Alexis, you know, I mean, I met Alexis at a time when I had sworn off doing that. I'm never going to get involved with any young, untested talent again, because it can be heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Then I met Alexis, and, you know,
she's amazing.
When she emailed me and I looked at some videos, I thought, okay, she's got a voice, and I like her vibe, and I met her, and I just loved her as a person, as an artist. And 7 years later, we finally, you know, have cracked the code of, you know, who she is and what she sounds like, and we have a great album. Now we're just trying to figure out what to do with it.
Yeah. Right. It's you know, I had an opportunity to play on a couple of songs with them, and they invited me over, and what I heard was just really mind-blowing great. I mean, she's a remarkable talent. Like you said, her voice and her energy, and then you know, you got Martin and you, and it's like, oh my gosh. So Andy, it's true. Well, you heard some of it when
she played some of the songs when she was on the show with us.
Right.
And then I actually went and heard her sing it. That she sings at the restaurant that her mom owns, and
I didn't know that.
It was a weeknight. There were maybe like 15 people in the restaurant, but she was given it. I mean, you were just blown away by her talent. I mean, it's just she didn't care that there weren't anybody in the bar. I mean, she was just singing it like it was like she was playing Carnegie Hall. I mean, it was fantastic. I mean, it was.
You know, I went to see her probably the place in Conshohocken.
This was in Jersey. This was
her mom's place, right?
Yeah.
I went to see her. I stopped by like a Cajun restaurant in Conshohocken, and she was playing on the second floor. And I remember walking up the stairs and hearing this voice doing Champagne Supernova. And I knew that I was going to see Alexis, but I just was thinking, this singer is amazing. This singer is singing Champagne Supernova like she wrote it. And of course, you know, I knew it was her, but it was just sort of this, wherever my brain was scattered at the time, I kind of got to experience her as an outsider for a minute.
Yeah.
Well,
hopefully that, you know, you figure out a way to get the album out to as many people as can possibly hear it. People need to hear her.
The album's been done for a while, and you know, we've been doing teasers. You know, we did that, a couple of videos, little quarantine videos.
Yeah.
We did I Hate You, which there's the full production of that is amazing, but we're not ready to unleash that on the world yet.
So the acoustic version you put out is very cool. I mean,
it's really cool. I mean, you know, it's a great song, and she's a great singer, and then we have fun doing it.
Yeah.
And Martin is great in that video. I mean, just his vibe is
right.
He's
badass.
He's loving life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of great singers, we have one on the show with us right now. Eric, do you want to play anything? Is this putting you on the spot?
Yeah.
To play something or?
No, put me on the spot, but I have an idea. I do have an idea. Let me grab I'm going to grab acoustic.
I love it. Cool.
I don't do acoustic very often, but
I love it.
Okay, and I'll see how far I get in this. My voice is a little creaky, probably.
It's okay. Creaky is good.
All right, since I'm homesick.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Lived on Vine Street, and I lived at home. Music was all that we had of our own. No satisfaction, no gas in my car, but I had the keys to the world in my beat-up guitar. With my beat-up guitar, you and I would ride away from the town that rocked the nation, Philadelphia, PA. Kensington Station, we sat on the tracks. I wrote you a song, though I knew it was flat. You laughed when they told me you won't get too far if you spend the rest of your life with that beat-up guitar. With that beat-up guitar, you and I would ride away from the town that rocked the nation, Philadelphia, PA. And I may leave this place tomorrow, but my soul is here to stay in the town that rocked the nation, Philadelphia, PA. Can't get the heaven on the Frankfurt L. You can't get the heaven on the Frankfurt L. You can't get the heaven on the Frankfurt L. You can't get the heaven on the Frankfurt L. No, you can't get the heaven on the Frankfurt L.
Hell.
Things still go straight to Frankfurt. It's just another stop till I find my destination. Philadelphia, PA, with that beat up guitar. We're coming home again someday to the town that rocked the nation, Philadelphia, PA. Na 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 na. And I may leave this place tomorrow, but my soul is here to stay. Philadelphia, PA, the town that rocked the nation. Philadelphia, PA, Philadelphia, PA.
Bravo! Yeah, if we didn't have the latency, I would have joined you, you know?
Yeah, that was
Out.
Oh, that was awesome.
that was a very unexpected treat. That was great.
That was great. Absolutely great. That was great.
I'm homesick. I miss
Yeah, him.
being
Yeah. Well, you know, hopefully you'll be able to try. Like, are you able? Right now, there's some travel restrictions still, I think.
Yeah.
But
You know,
with you being an American citizen, you are able to.
Yeah. But back here,
What's that?
I wouldn't be able to get back into Sweden.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that's a problem. I mean, I don't know how long that's gonna last, you know. So
I mean, I keep looking for flights just to see if I have any options. And I went on the SAS website today, in fact, and you know, they show flights. You know, there's a flight next Wednesday, and there's one like the following Thursday, and I click on it, and it's not available. So I don't know what the deal.
yeah.
I don't know. I'm here. I mean, I'm here for the duration. You know, I mean, thank God I've got most of my family with me.
Yeah. And everybody's good. They're, you know, doing their thing.
Everybody,
You're in the basement. You're in the basement, rocking away.
back in the basement. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. You end up back there. Like I'm in the basement too. It's just.
Yeah.
Could you imagine though if this had happened before the internet? If everybody was isolated like this, and there was no way to communicate the way, you know, to share music and I mean, there's no way that it would have people would not have been willing to quarantine for this long if there was no internet.
I think that we'd have some real problems.
Yeah.
We'd be seeing. I mean, look, right now it's not even great shakes, but the fact that we could communicate like this is a real gift, you know. And
even I'm just talking about the way musicians are able to get their music out there. If that outlet didn't exist,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
say 30 years ago. I mean, what this would.
I played a show. I played a show a couple of weeks on a driveway with Greg and Wally, and it was it was like having sex for the first time, you know. It was like unbelievable. I was like, oh my God. It was that quick and that good. Yeah. But it was just such a great feeling. And I remember the mayor drove by of the town, and he kind of looked around and said, don't cause any trouble. But he goes, everybody was social distancing. But it does make you think about like we talked about it earlier, what's going to happen. I think people are going to be starving to hear live music, and I think they're just going to have to figure out how we're going to go about doing it. What do they say, the new normal? You know, that'll be it.
What that's going to be?
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to get back with the Hooters. You know, I can't. It's like
I know. I mean,
something to look forward to.
This is a bit, you know, a very creative time in its way. You know, I am getting to do crazy stuff. I've been recording songs in French.
I love that. Yeah.
I'm working on the third one right now, and you know, I'm discovering these songs. It's because a friend of mine, a guitarist in France, has been trying to get me to do stuff with him, and he sent me some song ideas, and it was okay. But then I said, let's do a Jacques Brel song. And I'm going to sing it.
Oh, I did a record with let me see, what's the name? I did a record with a band from France. Steve Butler produced it, and it was all these guys. I think some of the songs are in French. I'd have to send it to you so you check it out. But I was going, they're you know, French guys. But Eric has got the gift. When he come to my house, that's what my parents adored it. Because he picked up books and started speaking Finnish immediately. It was like, and that language, forget about it. Yeah. But French.
I was just going to ask. Are you fluent in French, Eric?
I was almost fluent, like
Give him a
30
day.
years.
Give him a day.
It's funny singing in French, you know, and I'm getting, you know, these lyrics, and before I sing them, I have to know what they mean, and it's coming back. I definitely, you know, I think if I spent a few weeks in France, I probably would get back to where I was.
Yeah. Mm.
Which was fairly fluent. No, when I learned Swedish, it kind of knocked French down into the basement.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you're
Swedish, Finnish, French. That's pretty impressive.
He speaks probably
Can you
Spanish.
have a conversation?
German. He does German. You know.
Do you know enough Finnish to speak to Dave? Tell Dave something in Finnish or not?
Man, I speak Finglish.
Yeah.
My Finnish is like, you know, if I get to Finland, I think Finnish, because it was actually my first language. My parents didn't speak English, so I have, like, you know, I kid people. I says it's Finglish, but like you, if I come to Finland, if I'm in Finland for a day or two, it all comes back. It all comes back pretty quickly. So
the only Finnish I know is what Dave taught me, and I don't think
can't say that. Can't say that. You
could,
but
can on a podcast, but
not even on a podcast.
no,
not even on a podcast.
That bad, huh? So let's look at these guys. Look at let's get these guys. Look at these guys from 1985.
Yeah.
Nervous Night. Yeah.
That's a great record too. I love that record.
That is 35 years, right? Am I doing the math right? 35 years? Yeah. 35.
Great record.
You know, and that obviously was the record that, you know, blew you guys up nationally, and MTV and All You Dance and Day by Day and All You Zombies, and We Dance, not All You Dance. I mean, when you guys were working on this record, Eric, obviously you knew you had something good. But
songs, I remember them writing.
Did you have any in your wildest dreams predict what this album was going to do for the band and your career? And
I got to admit, I was a little worried at one point.
Yeah.
I think Rob and I were definitely worried, because we had all these great tracks, and what we thought were great songs weren't really that great.
That's where Rick came in.
Well, that's where, you know, the pedal to the metal came in. That's where just our backs.
I remember that. I remember.
We wrote the verses to And We Danced, and the verses to Day by Day, and all of Where the Children Go, like at the last minute.
They wouldn't. Rick Chernoff would not let them leave. They were locked in the record plant. Right, it was in the record plant, and you know, they weren't allowed out basically. And Rick was to come out, and they came out with. I remember I was like, and it was pretty. From what I recorded, especially the one that really blew me away, I think two, Day by Day and Where Do the Children Go, really went like, whoa, you know, and now I know, you know, obviously I learned, you know, the story behind you know, what happened with that, but they really took a massive change.
Yeah.
They were amazing.
I think we learned a big lesson with those songs, because, you know, we went in thinking that we had songs. And, you know, the tendency is to hold on to it. You know, that verse melody, that's great. We just have to find the words. You know, and like
you changed melodies though. You changed.
Well, completely.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We learned if the words aren't coming, it's not the right melody.
So, because you remember we played the Zoo with Brian Setzer, and we did a version of Day by Day.
Yep.
And I wish I could. I don't know if that's recorded anywhere, but it was the first version of Day by Day.
I think I have.
You do? You have that? I love the.
I was at that show. That was the Hooters and the Stray Cats at the Zoo. That was fantastic. That was a great night. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was a different song.
Yeah, it even had a different riff. It had that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Which was kind of nice. Then Rob came up. I remember we were at Studio 4, and Rob said, "Hey, can you mute that guitar?" And he came up with that da 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 da.
Wow. Yeah, that's legendary. Yeah.
When I said it's time for the mandolin.
Yeah. Oh, and then just started. Then that thing happened. That Eric thing happened. I got to tell you, it was on Nervous Day. I got a great. I don't know if you saw that the Thoner. Dave Thoner sent made a comment about Satellite last week, where it's one of his favorite songs, you know, and we all know how great Thoner is, and it was just so nice that they get that message on there. He goes, "That's still one of my favorite songs and one of my favorite moments doing that," you know. So that was on One Way Home, the following record. you know. So I mean, there's just some great times, you know. And it's funny, you know, you think about say like Zigzag, the album that like for some reason it didn't connect here, but in Europe, remember, and what it did in Scandinavia. I mean, that's where I remember meeting Mick Ronson. I met Mick Ronson at we were playing. He came to our sound check, Andy. He's sitting. The only guy sitting in the theater was Mick Ronson. Wow. And I'm going, and he was telling me how much he liked the record, Zigzag, and I was like, oh my God, you know. So you know, it just connected out there, and thank God for that for us, you know, because that it really was our home for a long time, and to this day, it's where we go back and play big shows. So it's wonderful.
Yep. Well, here I am.
There you. Hey, wait a minute, right? You're in Sweden. There you are. Wow. Well, you're a Swede. You're you know.
No, I'm not.
No, you're not. You're not.
No.
You don't want any part. Yeah, well, obviously you want parts of it.
Part of it, and you know, and I love it here. People, but I'm the guy, and he has really shown me.
You did all right. Sarah's pretty smoking hot. You did all right.
Before all this.
What's that?
I just said before all this, when you could just walk freely in the streets of Stockholm, when you walk down the streets, do people gawk? Are you a big star in Sweden?
I think nobody has a clue who I am here.
Really? I just know because the Hooters are big over there.
But that's how Sweden is, though. You could do that at Sweden and Europe. People are. I think that's why I think they make a fuss at a show, but I think like you know they respect your. You know, I mean, if you're a pop star in America, it's a different thing. If you're a pop star over there, unless you're like a teen star, it's a different thing. But if you're like a rock people, like your friend, who's I'm forgetting, in Sweden, Nicholas is he's a big star in Sweden. He can go to the market. You know, he doesn't get bothered. He goes to the market, does his thing. So it's that kind of thing. But you made it home. And it's great.
Totally.
It's pretty cool, you know.
Well, I'm very grateful to have both, but I really do need both.
Yeah, well, you need to be you need to be back here. We miss you, you know.
Yeah.
We miss you.
And obviously fans of the Hooters miss all you guys being on stage together, but hopefully that'll happen again soon. So.
Oh yeah, soon come, man. Soon come. We'll do that. You know. So well, what's your day like today? You did the podcast. Now are you going to write some songs and?
I'm going to go to the gym.
Well, we can't go to the gym here.
You can't.
I walk my hill. I have a hill. We walk my hill. Last night at 9:00, I went and walked my hill. Came back soaking wet, sweating, and that's my exercise. And then I'll go play the drums. You know.
It's 50 degrees here.
Oh.
It's like 80 here today. So yeah.
No, it ain't 80 here. It's going up to 75 on Tuesday. But now I'm going to go to the gym. I mean, it's 6 hours later here, so this is part of my days. And my day is like I wake up anywhere between 9 and 10, maybe 11. Then I just kind of putter around and try to figure out why I'm here and what I'm going to do. Eventually I make my way down here to the basement. I spend about an hour practicing Bach on the mandolin. I'm learning the Bach violin sonatas on the mandolin.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Then I force myself to go outside and take a walk. And I usually just kind of go up to the music store around the corner and hang out there for a while. And then I come back here and eventually I make my way down to the basement. And
you're writing songs. My goal at one point is to play Man in the Street with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Dang. Oh yeah. I'm blowing it. If
I can play sax, you can play that thing.
Yeah. Well, it's fun. It's fun. Yeah. You know, keeps me sane.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's great learning a new skill.
Yeah. Indeed. So, all right. Well, Eric, you rock. Thank you.
This was great, Eric. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, my pleasure.
It was wonderful. We will have this out hopefully in the next hour or so. We can all watch.
Yeah,
it was good. This is the first time we've done any video, so it's
wow.
We're kind of learning as we go, but this was great. Talk about a great first guest for our first video podcast.
We hit a
thank you so much.
grand slam. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think we're gonna bail out at all the same time. So do you want to say goodbye to our audience here, or what do you want to do? Do you want me to handle it, or you do it?
Thank you so much for watching, for listening, and we'll see you next time, whenever that is, on In the Pocket. Thanks again to Eric Bazilian. For Dave, I'm Andy, and we'll see you soon.
See ya.
Hey, Dor.
There you go.